Well, speaking of that, let's now use that model. We're exporting it here. Let's now use it in the feed controller. There, we first of all need to import it. So here I'll import post by requiring it from my models folder from the post file. And now we can use that post model in create post after we validated the input here. There, I will create a new post with my post model as a constructor. We pass a JavaScript object, and there we define basically what we do down there. So we can cut that and move it up here. I don't need to set created at because Mongoose will do that for me thanks to that timestamps option we set here. And of course, I don't need to set _ID because Mongoose will create that for me as well. Title and content should be passed and the creator as well for the moment. So now you learned that we can just call save on the model to save it to the database. And this will give us a promise or a promise-like object where we can catch any errors. And here I will log the error for now. We'll later add real error handling, of course. And I get a result, which I also want to log here. And I will also send my response, in here in the then block, I'll send a response. 201 is the status code. The post object here, however, will be the result object I get back here because that should be my created post. If we now save that server-side code and we go back to our front-end application, we shouldn't need to change anything in our React code. Instead, we can just try this. Does this work? Let's choose an image. Upload still does not work. We'll do this later. Checking it. And this seems to fail. If we go back, I see path image URL is required, which makes sense because in my model, I set image URL as a required property. So in my feed controller, when I create a new post, I should also add an image URL here. And for now, that can point to images duck JPEG. We'll later add file upload, as I mentioned. So my mistake, we should add this on the server side. Make sure we store an image URL so that we meet the requirements of our model. And now, let's try this again. Does that work? Take the duck, enter some content, click accept. This looks good. Post created successfully. And there we see indeed, this is the data or the post which was stored with the creator, the content. This automatically generated created at and updated at timestamp, thanks to the timestamps option, and the automatically generated ID. So that is working, and on the server side, I also get no error. I only see that created object being printed thanks to the console log. So that is working fine. Now as a next step, we can work on serving that image and on accepting image uploads and on handling that error.